Awesome. Wonderful. Hello, everyone. Oh, this is so great. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Welcome to the authors of Bottlecap Spring Reading. My name is Sara Matson, and I really think the very best way to end National Poetry Month of this year is to read with you really brilliant, brilliant writers. Tonight, I have the pleasure of reading with Zach Spruce, Mike Bagwell, Ebs Sanders, Yael Valencia Aldana, Marlee Alcina Miller, Ariya Bandy, William Erickson, and Bri Stokes. That is such an incredible lineup. I'm so thrilled that all of you are here tonight. I think we're all connected. One, because we're absolutely amazing. And two, because we all have books currently available at Bottlecap Press. That website is bottlecap.press. I want to thank Bottlecap editor-in-chief Craig Mullins for curating such an excellent press. That's how we're all connected and how I found so many awesome authors and brilliant words. So thank you, Craig. I'm really grateful for your work in putting out thoughtful books. Just some quick housekeeping notes. I have independently organized tonight's readings, so the views and opinions expressed are mine or the individual author's own and may not necessarily reflect those views of Bottlecap Press. Just throwing that out there. We love Bottlecap, we're just not, connected. When you love the work that you hear tonight, please consider purchasing it. Every incredible author that you'll hear from has a book available at Bottlecap Press directly through them, the author, or at maybe your local book or coffee shop, even a couple bars in the area. That's pretty cool. The links to buy the author's Bottlecap books along with their websites, I'm going to pop those in the chat. I'll do it now and then at the end of the reading. That way we can get all that good info in there. I also just wanted to do a quick mention that Bottlecap has frequent sales on their books. So you can definitely get a couple for a good price. They have a buy two, get one free. So if you go to Bottlecap Press and you use the code BTGO with 3 books in your cart, you pay for 2 of them and you get 3 of them. It's also Mike's birthday month. This is the very, very last day of the month where you can get Mike Bagwell's book at a discount. If you're so inclined, highly recommended. Also, at the end of the reading tonight, there will be a short Q&A with our authors. If you have a question that you would like to ask, you're welcome to type it into the chat and I'll save it for later. Or if you want to unmute at the end, you're welcome to ask your question. We'll do our very best to answer them. And with that housekeeping stuff out of the way, I just want to begin by using this great platform that I have to demand an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. Please feel free to reach out to me if you're interested in ways you can make your voice heard, either in person or online. I'm happy to connect you with those resources. I stand with all the students that are protesting right now, and now and always Slava Ukraina, fuck Putin. So I'm gonna jump in to the poetry now. So let me introduce myself really quickly. Hi, I am Sara Matson. I use she, her pronouns. I am a poet in Chicago. My poems can be found in Bone Bouquet, Impossible Task, The Chicago Reader, and I have a pop culture book of chapbook of pop culture poems called Special Features, DVD poems. That's on Amazon from Alien Buddha Press. You can also find me on Blue Sky and Instagram. And I also host an online reading series that's coming back, Words and Friends. So I'm going to be reading tonight a couple of poems from my brand new chapbook, which is called Women in STEM. It is available from Bottlecap Press. Even the cover is inspired by awesome women in STEM, Sally Ride and Ellen Harding Baker. Craig designed this cover, so shout out Craig Mullins. This book was really a joy to research and write, and I'm really thrilled to share a tiny bit of it with you. I've decided to go with an outer space theme for this evening because it's so vast and wonderful. So the first poem I'd like to read is inspired by astronaut May Carroll Jemison. And I'm just gonna have little one-sentence bios in the back of this book. So May Carroll Jemison is an American astronaut, physician, engineer, and was the first African-American woman in space. She was also on an episode of Star Trek, making her the only person ever to be an astronaut and have played an astronaut on TV. Epically cool. So this poem is inspired by May Carroll Jemison and is called Moonwalk. Collecting shadows like dragons to be slayed, infinitesimal cloak clasped at my throat, velcroed slippers tethered to a secret project. Hailing frequencies open, lightning bolts crack in splinters, velvet spanning in thick waves around my leaves. Arms floating quickly to the orange night ground, over-ear connection strapped to a thigh that built worlds upon it, on point. I admire with last year's glasses, hands too wet, non-sterile, spine too tall, 5 inches above average, mouth too dry, hazardous crevasse. Ship entry vaporized into aluminum sheets, anxiously bringing glass into sliced lemon bowls. To resist the urge to drag the back end, to be fiercely anachronistic while point spotting, head faster than body. The unaccented, undisturbed, burning grace of youth, spot fixed to potential sharp hacks, glide across the possibilities, spin into Foyette. Limits discovered and discarded. What's impossible living among the stars. Awesome, thank you so much. My second poem tonight, we're still in the space theme, so I'm gonna read a poem inspired by Cecilia Payne Gapushkin, really awesome lady, a British-American astrophysicist and astronomer who discovered what stars are made out of. This poem is called Modern Cosmology. Star genius, pass me through every spectrum. Define my elements. Absorption, sequence, temperature, collision. My chemical signature is the lightest, vibrating and fusing stars to history. Stellar atmosphere made of song, I hum to spectral composition, high luminosity tripping on mainstream sketches, informally beautiful art, stellar and necessary, possible through dynamic observational cosmology. What noble gas forgets, stars remember. We construct and interpolate. Our faith resting comfortably in Orion's evolution, femininity overcoming practicality like endless galaxies. Thrush of starlight gasping inside infinite pixels, atomic structure rattled by my defined waste. Thanks so much. I have one more little spacey poem for you this evening. This poem is inspired by Valentina Tereshkova, who is a Russian woman. She was the first woman in space 20 years before American astronaut Sally Ride. So this poem is inspired by Valentina and is called Space Bird. 9 bullets for the seagull bleeding under the skin, centrifuge. Daughters of the sky slip their stone tongues into the mouth of war. 22 and in color, skinny-lipped dreamers soaring between harmonizing babushkas in pastel blue kitchens, stirring and chatting and dicing. A Soviet job meant worrying about how much she pissed and who to trust. Victory pressing itself like wet dough, sticking to the inside of a thumb. Everything appears easy when you're young. without grief or remorse, but it's impossible to disagree with a boot smashing my vocal cords. Hero of deception, all gauges, all indicators, all buckles, all singing, but she refused sunbeam in her feathers. Secrets worn under her collar and scratchy helicopter noises, her ancestral homeland responding in loud, curvy waves or clicks on the dead line. What an amazing fate for an earthling. Thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate it. That was me. I'm Sara Matson. This is my book, Women in STEM. Check it out. And now it gives me really great joy to introduce our next Bottlecap author, who is Zach Spruce. Zach Spruce is a writer from Rochester, New York. His first chapbook, Vanishing Sun, is now available from Bottlecap Press. Other poetry has appeared in literary publications such as Lilac Mag, Lucky Jefferson, Wild Roof Journal, and Closed Eye Open. You can find out more on Instagram and find Zach as at MK Ultra Magic Cult. Truly one of the best handles ever. MK Ultra MAGICK Cult. Find Zach. Please welcome Zach Spruce.
Thank you, Sarah. And hello, everyone. I just wanted to preface this by saying how grateful I am to be here tonight. It's both exciting and daunting to be in the company of so many talented writers, and I'm really looking forward to hearing all of you share. And also, I just wanted to echo the sentiment, Free Palestine and end the genocide. So as a bit of background info, several of the pieces in my chapbook are centered around Mount Hope Cemetery. It's a really old and beautiful cemetery in Rochester, New York, built on a glacial landscape. And the pond there is where I like to go to write. And so that location has quite a bit of gravity for me. And it's actually the pond that is the cover of the chapbook designed by Craig. And so I thought I'd start by reading the titular poem. This is called Vanishing Sun. 1. I came to the pond today. This place is a pill capsule brimming with platonic forms, and the sun is a grimy mirror streaked white, an old MasterCard, my notebook, the cut up small section of a bright pink bendy straw. Some days I come here to stay away from the allure of razors, the perfection of their edges. 2. I want to burn myself down again, and you are going to help me do it. Set me alight, O flint, O spark, O tinder. The twilight sky is a foxtail. Come, let us depart to these places unseen. 3. I'm alone again down by the pond in observance of a farewell to the vanishing sun, sinking below the tree line, the shadows behind the mossy headstones chained in a medieval rack, giving themselves to a torturous mechanism, stretching beyond reason, almost so one might hear the resounding snap of brittle bones echo through Mount Hope. A cicada shell in my hands glints gold in the last light as I turn it over and over. 4. I lay in pools of shade beneath the lattice work of bur oak branches. I raise my eyes from the burrow of this notebook. There, across the pond, I realize I am not alone. You are sitting by yourself on the lonesome bench at the edge of the jade waters. I will only glance at you for a moment. You, beautiful stranger, why are you weeping? I cannot gaze upon you any longer now, for it would be to lock you in a pillory, my beautiful stranger. Okay. This next poem, I've been told, makes me sound like a bit of a boomer. And I like to think it makes me sound like John Keats. So if it does make me sound boomerish, then we're going to go ahead and say that it's a persona poem. This poem is called Bluetooth Blues. Lately, I find I am no longer enlivened by the nightscape, by rows of amber globes glowing on the Elmwood Bridge. Smoke towers unfurl gnarled fingers into chalk-dusted night slate. Soil becomes hourglass sands. No longer do I feel captivated by soft, verdurous meadows, nor sylvan haunts, nor groaning pines, nor windswept cattails swaying. A QR code will be my epitaph. Copper wires inextricably constrict my bones like gilded cobras. Netflix spiders spin nicotine webs of mediocrity in my neurons. This blood turns to taurine and cotton candy vape juice. I suture USB-Cs to my fingertips. Will the electric hum become deafening? Uh, Thank you. This next one is about capitalism. It's called I Want Human Rights, Not a Pizza Party. I surrender to callous for you, O marble master, koi pond, exposed layers of swollen flesh, naked like slimy backpack chicken breasts for you, O Maserati princess. I will self-flagellate with a viperous printer cable. I willfully forsake the pleasures of the pizza party. Cheese scab, meat slop, RC, fizzlin, grease paste, no napkin shit feast. There is nothing I won't do for you. Oh, $40 Amex gift card. Behold how I slice away my indolence with the time card's box cutter edge. Dough triangles bring me in from the ledge. I'd like to dedicate this next one to the movie Blade Runner. If you haven't seen the movie Blade Runner, then I highly recommend you watch it. I promise you will not be disappointed by the movie Blade Runner. Um, this is called Voight-Kampff test. An ersatz owl perched in the umbra where the silence of falsity pervades us. In your emerald eyes, magma flickers for but a second, O replicant love of mine. Winter dread surrounds us as we sit and wonder if anything's worth saving. As black flames rise ever upward, is anything worth saving? Whirring gears, darkness, thick smog, pistons, cry, cybernetic tendrils, enshrouding wilting flora. A mechanized funeral dirge inexorably resounds, human in human, human in human, human in human. Okay, and this is the last one that I'll read tonight. And this is actually my favorite poem because it is undeniably self-indulgent. And so thank you all for letting me be self-indulgent. This poem is called Emotionally, I Am Locked in a Panic Room. Here I go once again, sinking towards the amber floor. Emotionally, I am locked in a panic room and trampled by black horses of my own crafting, whose forest marble eyes glint like light on a bottle of Ardbeg, whose thorned reins are tightly wound round skeletal digits. The nihilistic charioteer's whispers infect healthy neurons, wilt them like sugar maple leaves in fall. Please, please, you can no longer dream. You can no longer resolve to anything but warm honey and Novocaine in the brain. Those snowy television screens and dial-up screeches suffusing manic consciousness. Oh, consciousness, you are the following: a drag, a swill, a maddening ache, a cheap, sweet wine, brimming black cracked chalice. Reminisce about +1 and -2. Remember a poetry professor day drinking at Bill Gray's, how he wouldn't make eye contact. Remember soft blue sky of Adderall and what haunts you drank at alone before workshops, or laying down neath evergreens on Maine and vomiting sonic honey on a day of better mental health. You are wilting. You are wilting, chemical burned heart, singed and blooming sickly. So follow to a thesaurus of unexplored sheets, stanzas spurned in search of your God, in search of any God, some abstract concept, imprints of black lipstick, a feral gaze. You never write poems anymore. Your notebook languishes on sticky mahogany, waiting patiently for the world to ignite. The poet blacking out once again the mistakes in another line which trails into nothingness, sweet eloquence of nothingness. But you gleam like so many stars, like razor blades, like rain. One day you will be more than a specter of a hornet trapped beneath a ghastly mirror's white streaks. Okay, that's all I have for you guys tonight. And I just want to say thank you so much to Sara again for organizing this event and for having me. And also, I want to thank Craig from Bottlecap Press for being such an amazing person to work with. And this has been really great. And now I'll turn it back over to you, Sara.
That was really wonderful, Zach. Thank you so much for sharing. Everyone, you just heard Zach Spruce. You can find more of Zach's work at zachspruce.wordpress.com. That was awesome. Excellent. Thank you. I'm very pleased to be introducing our next writer tonight, Mike Bagwell. Mike Bagwell is a writer and software engineer in Philly. He received an MFA from Sarah Lawrence, and his work appears or is forthcoming in Action Spectacle, Sprung Forward, Heavy Feather, Had, Bodega, OK Donkey, and others, some kindly nominating him for a pushcart. He is the author of the chapbooks A Collision of Soul in Midair, Bottlecap Press, 2023, or Else There Are Trees, El Ilf Press, and a micro, When We Look at Things We Steal, Their Color. So sorry. When we look at things we steal, their color, they grow heavy under their weight. I apologize, Mike. From Rinky Dink Press 2024. You can find more of Mike's work at mikebagwell.me. That's Mike, MikeBagwell.me, and at Low Ghost, low_GH0ST. Please, everyone, join me in welcoming Mike Bagwell.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Sara, for putting this on. I just want to express serious gratitude for this. It's like such a great group of readers, and yeah, this is a blast. And I swear I'm working on a less annoying bio. I don't know what I like to do, like play with my daughters. Yeah, that should go in the bio, I guess. But yeah, working on it. So this book I wrote over the course of 12 years, and it follows the zodiac. So each poem follows a specific year in that zodiac. And I wish I could say that any of this was particularly intentional, but I kind of wrote four in a burst and then put it down forever, thinking maybe four is good enough, and then wrote another four. And finally, this year was getting together a full-length collection and asked my wife, would this be weird if I just had 8 out of 12 Zodiac poems? Like, can I do that? And no, obviously you can't do that. That'd be stupid. So yeah, she essentially made me write the rest of them. But yeah, so I kind of can't talk about this book without doing a whole big spiel and going through my life, but hopefully that's somewhat interesting, because each of these is like a very distinct point in time. The first section is heaven and starts with like my undergrad, and then the second section is earth, and that's just after grad school, and the last section is hell, which is just now. It's a little pessimistic to end on hell, but I'll talk about it. So one thing that I wanted to try doing with this reading that I haven't done is the book starts out with these poems that are, you can't see that, but much smaller poems that kind of diminish throughout. that actually started out as one poem, and I tore it up to be kind of intro poems to each section. So I want to try just reading that straight through and see how it goes. But these are those sections. So, heaven. The color white is impossible, or at least soundless. An island walks through this, weeping. As the city of Philadelphia unfolds into an origami fish in the rearview mirror, the heart stays where the blood is. Earth. An island leaves a hole where it once was, dreaming of large things that could fall into it. Blood is always either moving or not moving. They call this the patience of the dead. Hell. An island forgets to breathe sometimes. You can hear this if you stand still for long enough. So then the first section is like rather surreal. I kind of felt like I didn't understand how to write about my own life, like what makes me interesting as a like 19-year-old or something. So my style was always just incredibly surreal and reaching for the things that don't make any sense, but hopefully that's still interesting. And then I think as these poems progress, I slowly figure out that like how to write about the self and how to bring the everyday life into poetry. And that's a trajectory that continues on to some of my newer projects. But, that's like something of a linear progression through this that'll might be fun. This is called What We Were Trying to Do All Along. We were working with a botched biopsy of the 20th century, so who could blame us? My mother was the year of the horse. She cradled me in her days and cut my umbilical with the teeth of December. Everything was thrown into confusion. Father went down to the shop to pawn the three-headed birds he had captured. A man approached him, pulled pennies out of his pocket, threw them into the wind, and yelled, "I loved you, damn it. I loved you." Poof, gone, rainstorm. Father came back plastered. Fires broke out all over town and gave lectures about how eternity would absolve our sins. No one took their books, and they sat there and burned with only looks. And they sat there and burned and until the rains came again. The horse on vacation misplaces everything with the color orange. Suitable gifts, kite, compass, cellular phone, pedicure set, camera. Maybe oblivion is a final withdrawal from memory. You wake up to car alarms and construction work you can't define, and so simply label elegiac. And we lovers curl like cats around each other, not trying to escape anywhere. This one's carrying water. You'll see that these have lots of structure, like a kind of a found form. There's the suitable gift sections. There's a lot of like internal rules that I set up just to make it really hard for myself to write these. But in a way, it kind of feels like I was trying to trap time as well. Like there's these very tight-knit structures, and yet suddenly 4 years slip by and another 4 years slip by. So carrying water. The year of the sheep got lost in an airport and just bounced from shoulder to shoulder. The crowds left blurred vapor trails of themselves, and the whole place swirled in light browns and the faded azure of jeans. Everywhere I went, crows called themselves Adam, crawling out of pitch black pools and drying off their feathers. I never quite grasped the significance of this, no matter how many times they demanded I pull out one of their ribs. I'm not God, I told them, even though I was having clear, frictionless thoughts. At 1 p.m., a sheep becomes insecure about anything with the color purple. Suitable gifts, bathrobe, brooch, peppermint oil, seashells, massage, theater tickets. Maybe the soul is joined to the body by deep pits of water. You pull feathers out of your mouth and walk around a crowded airport. Instead of diving back in, you just get comfortable. So then I'll move on to Earth. This is like written during grad school, mostly just after. Um, this one is called Unidirectional. The year of the dog likes to think about my friend who grew up with a prison across the cornfield. She had a lawyer father and watched the Waltons a lot, so she might have looked over while all the inmates were saying goodnight to each other and said goodnight, inmates, but they didn't know her name to say it back. We are way into contexts. For instance, animals. For instance, our childhood pets are dying simultaneously. And we will have joint funerals. At 2 p.m., the year of the dog will kick things off with a poem that forgets about surrealism for a moment and is only light yellow, repeated until its seams are frayed. The lawyer father will preside. Exactly how you'd expect memory to look. Suitable gifts, rocking chair, novel, roses, massage therapy. Everywhere my body is, there's already a body. You know how when you go to turn off the light, it's your hand that's already pulling the string. This one is light. Don't even think about colorless depths. All they want is to politicize the body. The year of the rat is so empty, it walks back to its apartment, spilling cheesesteak on the library's copy of a Brodigan novel, The Abortion, reads near half before realizing he's not moving towards a home, but is a home, and so damn unfinished, a person could fall through the first floor into a womb. I wrote my friend in prison only once, visited him 2, maybe 3 times. What if the first person is writes himself as an image of himself, walking backwards to his childhood, where roads mimic each other? The rat on vacation becomes overly enthusiastic about anything the color light blue. Suitable gifts, car accessories, art books, gym memberships, geological maps. What if it's clouds doing the hard work, and all I can do is adjust myself into the sky? I'm approaching the body with what? So on to hell. um, these were the most recent poems, started in June or so. What really kicked off a recent resurgence in poetry was, weirdly enough, having a second daughter and thus having no time whatsoever to do any poetry. But I think that my kids have been a huge inspiration, and like seeing that language reflected back to you, your own language, their language, language as an abstraction. It's just such a cool thing. Um, so yeah, this one's called The Year of the Rabbit. We are entering the season of orange air and other kinds of radar reports. Don DeLillo takes these broken wings and reads them like tea leaves. People are out there in the smoke, performing normal acts, becoming punctuation. When they've gone far enough, the sun's struggling to read anything, but still inventing meaning. Even when the double beat of her heart is a canyon of beauty, I hold up the year of the rabbit, my baby, like a lantern to light my path through the dark house, shouting, blow out, blow out. Later, Tina caught me rocking a book of poetry to sleep. Suitable gifts, tapestry kit, CD, fine wine, easel, book of lyrics. Maybe the simultaneity of our thoughts is what Bosch was getting at when he affixed 2 ears with an arrow, the full scope of the cosmos, just a blade listening, marked with a B for baby and me. Maybe it's time for a little You Are My Sunshine and some sleep. This is A Fish Breathes Water. I'll just do one more after this. What age were you when you realized being a human meant consuming vast amounts of water? I was at least 34. I was at least the gray body bent in half through the eye of a key. Do fish have camelbacks? Is a real question I really asked in my coworker's dream. He said they're surrounded by camelbacks the next day at the proverbial water cooler, and I didn't know enough about fish to dispute him. So many friends dead, the ones who've simply lost their minds, post pictures of koi fish and Jesus on their Instas. It's lovely, really. The sun doing such nice things. Okay, I looked it up. Freshwater fish would explode if not for a set of cells constantly pumping salt into their blood. The year of the dragon feels cheated, but the poet went with this local zodiac variant of a fish, especially when he promised such epic fires, whole books of fires, whole thirds of triptychs of fires, suitable gifts, tarot cards, camera, a copy of the I Ching, mirror, a family crest, mobile phone. Maybe I'm just creekside, wind knowing as little as I do, a tranquil haven for the black-lanced mosquitoes. And when I take a long drink, I pour some out for my dead. And then this is one of those like happy accidents is that I ended the cycle just because of where I started on the year of the snake, which is the year that I was born. So this one is called Self-Portrait. The year of the snake is what I am. Simple fact of it. I was born in 1989 with a knife through my palm that called itself language. Mountains burning in the distance are mountains of my childhood, spent in Bosch's burning home. A conceit clearly conceived by the contemporary architecture of our shared nightmares. The naming of daughters like a poem from glass. Best friends to rats, though Ayla means deer or oak or bringer of light, or the halo of the moon, or from a place of strength. Very happy with a rabbit, though Kitra means an inverted crown at the meeting place of the infinite and the finite. Knowing I am now done having children feels simultaneously like the opening and the closing of an era. I wonder about this, the pessimism of ending on hell, but then I remember the garden triptych closes and the marvel of the void appears, and it's always there. Suitable gifts, binoculars, tarot cards, oils, and lotions, stamp collection. Maybe I'll leave myself with a sensation I'd forgotten while pushing my daughter on the swing, a firm hand on my back, my own, nothing but wood chips and sky ahead. Thanks.
Wow, thank you so very much, Mike. Everyone, that was Mike Bagwell. I really appreciate it. You can find more of Mike's work at mikebagwell.me. Thank you so much. Oh, amazing. Wonderful. Well, it is my joy to introduce our next reader, who I actually know about because of Mike. So thank you for introducing me to another fantastic writer, Ebs Sanders. Ebs Sanders is a poet living in Philadelphia. They co-edit The Tiny with Gina Myers. They are the author of Intimacies That Did Not Destroy Us from Bottlecap Press 2022 and A Fallow Channel Gauss PDF 2020. Their work has appeared in Asterion Projects, Based, Bedfellows, Blush, Full Stop, Fungiculture, ProLit, The Rumpus, and Tripwire, among others. Their art has been exhibited at Vox Populi. Please join me in welcoming Ebs Sanders.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you for putting this together. Thank you to all the other readers. It's really an honor to read with so many great poets. I do want to mention the Tiny's open reading period is now open. We open just once a year, and it's open now through June 1st. So if anyone is interested in sending us some poems, you can find more at thetinymag.com. So I have 4 for you tonight. I've sort of arranged it. I'm going to do a longer one, 2 shorter ones, and a longer one to close. This first one is called YouTube. YouTube. We intertwine. The narrator's voice deepens. This thread of mucus, origin of goo, the one who saw your skin blistering, who pulverized oats, who drew you a bath, who fucked you to sleep, a trail of slime between your legs, hair growing out only one side of your face. Once I sent Gina a news story about how scientists are finding rocks made of plastic. She put it in a poem. Now it's Cheerios, oatmeal, pasta, tree roots, clouds, water, lungs, heart, placenta. Sans alcohol, now I just drink coffee till I tremble. Jackie Wang asks, do you see the world through an oblique cut? Ecstasy so undiluted you can only handle it in small doses. Each time I finish a customer call, the customer gets a survey asking them to rate me. The scale is 5 emojis. They're smiley faces, but the first one looks so sad. The fifth one grins maniacally. Its eyes have been replaced with stars. I am always wondering what in an hour-long Zoom call could put stars in the customer's eyes. I collaborate with my cat to set a brush against the table leg so she can pleasure herself exactly. In 2007, CBS executives transport 40 children to a desert in the Southwest United States. The only other people present are the producers and the camera people. The children compete sports style for placement into one of 4 classes, distinguished by intensity of labor and amount of pay. The intensity of labor and amount of pay are inversely correlated. The show is called Kid Nation. The fictional child town populated by actual children is called Bonanza City. I'm riding a bicycle in circles through the desert, getting nowhere, eyes itching, multiple molds growing unimpeded in the vents of the apartment, my allergic disposition, shoplifted Benadryl dreams of neon sunsets and a dog floating through still air. Little winged muscles are lifting weights at the 24-hour Angel Gym. Out of a mirage, Joe Biden approaches me in aviators. He says, "Hey, pal, seems like you need to get your rocks off." He reveals his true form, a vulture, and squats over the remains of days, heat that should have been quelled by the setting sun. This tumbleweed, I thought, wants to kill me. Thistles of need, pushing sand, warm suck of air, wind, horizon line wavering. Is it an encounter or diversion or both? This sublimation. I would never call surviving an art form. I wanted it to be beautiful, disturbing, aberrant, unyielding. Something I am always wondering is when I'm watching shadows and when I'm not. And what does my tail do while I sleep? Does it twitch? Does it gently scrape the sheets? And this next one is called Room for Each Proclivity. The misperception that if you are not promoting, you are not serious in what you do. Someone who is ambitious might behave like a politician. I see how it could feel good to get some power. I see on concrete a warm corpse slither pink and moist through soil. Someone posts the Wikipedia entry for even a worm will turn. You make me understand things. I would be lying if I said you hadn't taught me over the years about language, pain, exchanges that may or may not occur, leaving both people transformed. This debt I haven't paid. But what's debt but a lie that keeps people working? Asking earnestly, what do we owe each other? And this next one is called Daisies, after the 1966 movie of the same name. Daisies. Lick soot to loosen the trap you set yourself answering emails, lucite air, the seasons we preferred single fingers, delicate, the bedspread layered in towels, the towels covered in neon flowers and fish, the levers that operate perception of bodily pain, adjustments to mood, to thought patterns. Each year, these certain whales sing a new song, 2 whales far from each other all year, same song. Does it feel like a day, liquid in time, plainchant, a chrysalis in flames? Aether as the mother of all elements and of sound, which mothers all senses, as the movement made by Amphion, as balls of light that light the tops of trees, as a vape running low on liquid, getting charged, as traitor, as fungi and decay, as music over ceremony, as daisies, as teenaged again, as moths attracted. Carrie says, nobody loves the object, the mirror, but I wasn't made to suffer. I was made to eat Ferrero Rochers and jerk off a lot. Neon pink Nerf ball I thought was alive. wood's inner receptivity, as in instruments, as in mouth pressed to bark. And the last one I'll read tonight is for my dear friend who is a very wonderful poet. Her name is Marion Bell, and she is also my partner in basketball. We shoot hoops a lot in Philly. And so this poem, I guess, is sort of an attempt to answer the question, what do we mean when we say ball is life? Ball, for Marion Bell. Ball is a peach basket. Ball is a peach basket bottomed out. Ball is invented for a season hard to pass. Ball absorbs the telling of by what this day was fucked up. Ball releases. Ball encourages the spontaneous formation of networks of affinities. Ball is the perpetual flux and motion of particles in their essential and unobserved state. Ball is sonic echo. Ball is anti-surveillance. Ball doesn't even watch itself. Ball elucidates. Ball inquires. Ball is curious. It wants to learn. Ball does not work. Ball does not pay taxes. Ball is a circle of salt driving around. Ball is a circle of salt around a self-driving car, causing it to malfunction. Ball proliferates. Ball discerns. Ball is all ages, always. Ball loves the swish of the net, its curves. Ball demands no achievement. Ball is a wiggle, a fluctuation in an atmosphere of perpetual burnout. Ball is oversized sweats and high tops. Ball is loose. Ball is unbounded. Ball is a somatic ritual. Ball is people approaching each other, sometimes knowing, sometimes not. Ball is a shared affinity. Ball is unsolicited advice. Ball is trash talk. Ball is the trolley's clank. Ball is the hole in the fence, the portal we take to arrive. Ball is a knowing nod. Ball is hugging each other next to the trash cans. Ball is a guy offering a quarter in advice and accepting the quarter, but not the advice, and him giving it anyway. Ball is a pair of 9-year-olds asking us to play 2-on-2, one turning to the other and saying, "This is going to be easy." Ball is the scent of time and rubber and sweat. Ball is recuperation. Ball is time stolen back. Ball is written in bounces and arcs, in long shadow moving across the court. Ball is luminous. Ball is the free flow of people clogging the arteries of the city with noise, with bodies. Ball is passed freely among many hands. Ball is rhythmic bounce. Ball contemplates. Ball pontificates. Ball is rebounding. Ball is nightlight. Ball is whoop. Ball glides, stretching and compressing and stretching again to loosen some large arc. Ball is spontaneous. It arises from unplanned encounters. It reveals itself across mouths and hands. Ball persists. Ball refuses. Ball pushes foot unruly. Ball finds the hole because it wants it so bad, the hole. Ball balls endless variations, recreating a new time that is free. Thank you.
Wow, that was excellent. Thank you so much, everyone. You just heard Ebs Sanders. And again, you can find more of their awesome work that they edit with Gina Myers at the Tiny Mag, thetiny.mag.com. Wow, excellent. Ball is luminous. I am super excited and thrilled to introduce our next reader, Yael Valencia Aldana. Yael is a Caribbean Afro-Latinx writer and poet. She is a descendant of the indigenous people of modern-day Colombia. She was born on the Caribbean island of Barbados, then moved to Brooklyn, New York. She currently lives in South Florida, where she went to school for a very long time. Same. Her work has appeared or is forthcoming in Stone Coast Review, South Florida Poetry Journal, and Cupcake Literary Journal, among others. She teaches creative writing and lives with her son and too many pets. You can find her online at yaelaldana.com, and her Bottlecap Press chapbook, Aliens, is available at booksandbooks.com. Please join me in welcoming Yael Valencia Aldana.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be a part of this, and especially to hear words that we are not forgetting the people that are suffering in conflict across the world, in Palestine, and I want to also mention Sudan and Congo. Just quickly, I want to mention as well that I work with a press called Purple Ink Press. And we've got a lot of groovy stuff going on. If you want to check us out, we currently have a chapbook contest open that Chen Chen is judging. And upcoming, we have an online portfolio that's going to be opening called Tender Masculinities. So if you want to check us out, we are at purpleinkpress.com or on Instagram, same, Twitter, same. So my chapbook is about relationships, and it was really about me working through my feelings about these various relationships. And at first, when I started to write, you know, it just felt a lot like wallowing. But eventually, what I figured out happened is I was able to emotionally work through those feelings, especially the feelings for my ex-husband, where I completely fucked that up. But I just never dealt with that until I started to write about it. And then what happened is the poems became capsules for those really wonderful, beautiful feelings that were there, even when the relationship spiraled out into ugliness and nonsense, which they frequently do. But I was able to hold on to the beauty of the relationships through the poems and emotionally work through them, which I didn't expect. I just thought I was going to get some good poems out of the thing. So my first poem is called For You, after Ada Limon. There was a time in the Pantheon, the time before quasars, the time before penumbras were invented, the time before souls, when we were twins, clung together, brothers, sisters, who knows, but one skin, one gossamer bubble of thread, dark eye to dark eye. The residue adheres, sticky filaments on the wing. It arrows, it winnows, stretches thin as mylar. It is the most tapered kind of affection. So this next one was supposed to be, in my mind, it was an apology to my ex-husband, but then it sort of ended up not being an apology. But still in my mind, it's an apology. Oh, and I should mention that the book, Aliens, is named after him, which was his nickname. His given name's Alan, but his nickname's Alien. And I did not give him that nickname, even though I wish I had. But basically, it's, you know, like a stand-in for all of us aliens just trying to, you know, work our way through this life. Alien poem number 12. You are the best person I have met. Not the strongest, but the best. The worst thing you ever did, I made you do. Drunk off our asses atop a 10-story apartment roof in Brooklyn. I command you to climb down the fire escape, steal a tiny barbecue grill I see below. Game. You climb down. You call up. I can't make it up with the grill. Do it, I slur. Don't come up here without that fucking grill. I, confident in your athleticism. You return with the grill. Our triumph, our token, our coup. You could have died 10 stories up, jumping between the fire escape and the roof ladder. You survived my drunken bullying. Maybe I'm the worst person I have met. We take the tiny grill home. Is it really ours? We never use it. We giggle over it. Our triumph, our token, our coup. You are the best person I ever met. Not the strongest, but the best. I might be the worst person you have met. Am I your most dangerous ex? Would you be in danger if I reappeared? If I thought we could make it, I would take you back. Would you let me? I would storm into your new relationship, leave your girlfriend in shambles. Fuck the feminist sisterhood. I would send her back to her mother crying, back to her best friend crying. Feminism means you need to be strong, so take it, and I will take him. I have been that bitch before, and I would be that bitch again. I would have taken the karma, and I would have taken you, but we wouldn't have made it. So I let you alone. So this last one, I wrote about a situation with my mentor who feels things so deeply. And I had to tell her that professionally someone had treated me very badly. And I really didn't want to tell her because I knew she'd be very upset. And in writing the poem, I decided, well, you know what? I'm going to skew this poem romantic because to acknowledge, myself as a bisexual woman. But it never occurred to me that I would read the poem in front of her. And then I had to read the poem in front of her. And I had to acknowledge that it was about her. And it was awkward because the poem is very romantic, but it's not like that. So I had to do this whole big explanation to her, and she was very kind and sweet about it. So this is called To Watch Her Face Fall. I am wounded. My washy, thin skin darkens with blood, frayed, open flesh, ragged at the edges. I don't want to tell her, to show her, but she will ask. I can bear it alone, the weight of this upset, knit the lesion back together before I see her, continued interlacing a fascia after I see her, conceal the bruise, the sliced skin. But she will ask. I harrow and sear, watching her face crest and fall, watching her shining shadow. If only for a few minutes, till her face brightens, till her mouth dances to distract from my harm. Our love is this silent shaping. Bodily harm becomes invisible shadowing, barely darkened imperfections, a closing over that will smooth, return to unblemished perfection to all eyes but ours, only us aware of the slight scar lightly covered in hair, smoothing over her face that fell. She cannot forgive because it was me. I cannot forgive because it was her face that fell. She wants to go back, soothe with words as slim as apple chips, soothe with her rhythmic voice that rises and falls in waves. Our faces slick over, leaving only slight sharpening in the corner of the shields of our eyes, squinting, glinting black metal. She will say it's all right and not mean it. I will agree and not mean it. We will put our glossy heads together, draft new plans for unnamed streets. She will hold my hand tighter, which is no good bit, until I'm ready to leave the hearth of her protection, sheathed in armor. We will temper anew. And this last one is just very simple and short. Single strand. The pull of a smooth single strand of hair beneath my watch strap reminds me of your coils I find coolly tangled in my fingers after you are well gone. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much, Yael. That was really, really wonderful. Again, everyone, that was Yael Valencia Aldana. You can find more work at YaelAldana.com. And also definitely check out that Purple Ink Press contest that's judged by Chen Chen. That sounds totally fucking rad. Thank you so much for sharing. Excellent. Y'all, I feel so inspired. This is really, really wonderful. We're going to keep it going with more amazing work. It is my joy to introduce our next reader, Marlee Alcina Miller. Marlee Alcina Miller, they, is a queer Black activist, writer, puppeteer, and performer based in Brooklyn, New York. She draws inspiration for her work from love, dreams, social justice, mental illness, and the process of exploring identity. She also attributes a large part of her artistic influence to dancing with her queer chosen family, Audre Lorde, writing her signature love letters, Nikki Giovanni, and crying while sipping wine in the shower. Hard same, girl. Marlee is a Voices of Our Nation's Arts Foundation alum. Her poetry and prose can be found in issue 117 of Sinister Wisdom, a multicultural lesbian literary and art journal, as well as Solstice, a magazine of diverse voices, summer 2021 issue. Please join me in welcoming Marlee Alcina Miller.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me to be here, Sarah. And it's been so amazing hearing everyone's work. I realized I didn't send you my most up-to-date bio, so I was like, but it's fine. So I'm going to read some poems from my Bottlecap Press book, which is called Mommy Issues, Love Poems for the Fragile Queer Heart. And it's accompanied by illustrations by my friend Reno Taylor. They also designed the cover. And it's a collection of love poems, and like not just like romantic love, although a lot of them are, but also like platonic love, familial love, love for places. And it also kind of explores like the intersection between like mental illness and how that affects how I love. So the first one is called Full. Friedrich Nietzsche says, "There is always some madness in love. There's a flood of you inside me. I think if doctors did an X-ray, they'd see little people on sailboats, trying to survive the turbulent waves that crash and split apart just under my windpipe. My therapist asked me why I perpetually feel so full. And for a moment, I imagine a plate full of nothing but your name. I'd eat forkful after forkful after forkful until I felt I'd explode. I say, my love is all madness." That's full. My next one is called Even on 150 milligrams of Lamictal, which is a mood stabilizer, for anyone who doesn't know. Okay. June should have been light sigh of relief, but it was public mental breakdown in New York Penn Station. After, I nestled in some mundane nostalgia that felt safer. When I am in love, I am mad. When I am not, I am bored. Terence Hayes says, the wish to live a while on the mind of another human is not inhuman, and I feel less guilty. I hear her laugh from the opposite end of a tunnel that resides beneath a sea full of other fish. I might be swimming among them too, as I haven't fucked myself in a year. I wonder what that's about. I hear her laugh from the opposite end of a tunnel, and oh, how I wish I were hearing mine. Okay, and then I don't know if you can see the illustrations, but I'll try to show you. That one's from Full. And then this is what Lamictal looks like. Okay, so the next one I'm going to read is from my friend Denali, and it's called Moving with Them. And we do a lot of contact improv and movement work together. So this was inspiring. We speak through gyrating hips or arms painting imaginary landscapes above our heads. We still speak, despite what has our lips stitched shut with rusty needle and thread. We convey by way of pushing our energies through a roused, arched back, through clammy hands gripping on slipping off hips. We must carve out our words with the tips of our fingers as we make contact with the very apexes of our bodies. We are a mess of sweat, not knowing where mine starts or theirs begins. Listening to each other's bodies so intently, I don't bother to remove their afro curls that find home on my tongue. Our untamed spirits living under hot, hungry skin speak in a language that belongs to us alone. We end our dance, holding each other on the floor. They tremble in my arms. Their tears get caught in the crook of my collarbone. Their shaky whisper enters my ear. I hear that voice, like the Alaskan mountain they're named after, keen, containing multitudes. Thank you. When we are here, we forget the world outside is this illusion of security. It sounds like locking the front door, ritual that helps you sleep easy at night. It sounds like the last breath of your least favorite part of you. But when we anticipate our shared movement language coming, we know we can disregard dry mouths. We know soon we will sip on solace like spring water when our eyes pry open, awoken by our shared, our sacred, our transcendent, our gorgeous Black femme intimacy. Okay, let's try to decide between two. Sorry, y'all. Maybe I'll read, okay, so I'll read one that was published in a recent issue in Sinister Wisdom. And it is called 19 Evening Primroses. I thought I marked the page, but I did not. So give me 1 second. Okay. Sorry, guys. All right. 19 Evening Primroses. A mischievous, crooked, underbite smile. Last night's blue eyeliner smudged and fading on her bottom lids. It was the summer I saw 19 evening primroses bloom in real time, stretching their canary yellow petals outward as if they're gracing us with a song. A group of us blew kisses towards them as they shyly opened. Someone told us it helps the process. Her laugh is smoky, and when she plays the accordion, it sounds like Edith Piaf and Janis Joplin had some dreamy love child. Auburn curls tumble downwards, cascading on top of closed eyelids as she gets lost in her own song. When I ask her for a CD, she becomes shy about her voice, mentioning haggard breathing in between the notes, as the CD was recorded before she kicked her nicotine addiction. I didn't tell her that I heard her play 5 years ago and I didn't notice, or maybe didn't care about any of her insecurities. What I remember is the heavy-footed tapping and rhythm she did while singing a sea shanty. I spent most of last night flirting with straight women who will never kiss me. I was falling all over myself, swooning in between gin-flavored hiccups, when one of her hands lingered on my knee for an eternity while she laughed. It made me feel like I want to live forever. My body is so hesitant and stagnant. I move with great trepidation through silence. She is some grand show or a performance, the kind you don't want people to talk over, but she doesn't know it. That's it. Thank you.
Wow, that was wonderful. Thank you so much, Marlee. Everyone, you just listened to Marlee Alcina Miller. Please check them out at marleealcina.com. That's MarleeAlcina.com for more info. That was really brilliant. Thank you so much. Oh, I just feel so good. I'm like, yes, brilliant words. Amazing. Excellent. Thank you so much. I would love to introduce our next reader, Ariya Bandy. Ariya Bandy is a writer of poetry and fiction who loves to surround herself with many types of literature. She is thrilled to have the opportunity to share her debut chapbook with the world. Painted Winds is now available from Bottlecap Press. Her work appears in Iceblink Literary Magazine, Queerencia Autumn 2023 from Queerencia Press, and elsewhere. And you can find more of Ariya's work at ariyabandy.com. Please join me in welcoming Ariya Bandy.
Hi, everybody. So first of all, I just wanted to give a big thank you to Sara for organizing this reading and also for inviting me. This has just been so cool and inspiring. And I just feel so grateful to be in such an incredible company. I would also love to thank the other authors here making this event what it is, and also everyone here listening and watching. I had a dance teacher once say this to me in a workshop where we all held hands in a circle, and the idea was if one person stepped out of the circle would no longer be the same. And so I just feel really grateful that we're all in this circle together. So to reintroduce myself, I'm Ariya Bandy, and I'm the author of the poetry chapbook Painted Winds from Bottlecap Press. So for me, this chapbook really was an exploration of youth and my youth, and specifically how your relationship to your youth is complex in the way that you both have to let it go while it also forever stays a part of you. And so we're going to start today in the world of 6-year-old Ariya going to rent some DVDs with a poem titled Flying. Squeezing the booster seat handles and kicking my legs, I couldn't contain bursting flower buds inside me, waiting to visit you for movies, the vital want. I would leap past parking spots, each a landmark to the warm embrace of your door. Your register would speed past my vision while I scurried straight to your kids section to find a new tale. Sounds of shuffling shoes and whispering voices would bounce between infinite rows of shelves growing across my world. Your window behind me would bring spotlighting sunlight, heating like a blanket over my shoulders, always there when I never looked back. My eyes would fuse to pigments on covers. I'd almost feel their ocean waves and magic air on my skin. I would cradle my choice neighboring cotton candy for a finale of swirling sugars across my tongue, melting and mirroring wonders of the day. You made me levitate before we both flew away. Thanks. So my next poem, titled Capes, is very much inspired by the fact that I love superheroes. I love comics. Please don't ask me any questions about any, like, what's your favorite, who's your favorite, because I will never stop talking. That will be the rest of your life. But Capes. The day I learned blood could be wrung from my heart like a towel, collecting leaks or a cape in the rain. The day I learned I looked up to the eclipse only when pushed down by hail of needles dressed in sugar. The day I learned I was no hero, only a winner in each brawl in the sky, slamming myself into the pavement, chasing subterranean applause as if defeating a villain. The day I learned I didn't know who was who, one's cape black, the other's white, turning red. All I heard was the innate screech, shredding each aberration into the next storm. So my next poem. So as I mentioned before, I am a dancer, and so I think this poem was very much inspired by how you have dance shoes. They're your thing, they're your favorite, they support you, and then they kind of fall apart, but you still love them and you don't want new ones. This is titled Souvenirs. How could you get rid of them? The dance shoes you inhabited, more and more broken week after week. But take a closer look at the bottom of the right shoe, with stitching at the seam, unraveling with each pirouette, loose threads mimicking choreography, with frames on each side, hugging your arches, the scuff on the heel, a souvenir when the bruises fade. A worn down toe, as if sanded with a nail file, not a twin, but a neighbor, you secretly gifted more. The surface decorated in black dirt clouds, showing where bone came closest to meeting the floor below, but you'd rather them than empty skies. So kind of just running through the whole childhood here, but I was a really big fan of dolls and how they kind of, in a way, represent how we interact with other people and our emotions, but also can sometimes reflect things in us that we maybe don't like as much. This is titled Dollbox. The choreography ends. The melody continues, expecting me to fill its overflow by running a bow over muscle fibers to play a display of instantaneous creation. I'm a puppet in a doll box. Friction rips appendages through the atmosphere. A disco ball of senses tracks me, tapping feet for my victory to release ropes from my pores, welcoming others on board. Melting the plastic to trap arm hairs in its scorching grip, losing passengers in a churning sea where I see my restraints, my reflections in the mirror, zip ties to my packaging. I never look back, free from my branding. Yeah. All right, this next poem is titled Soil. A mess, like clothes, entangled with neighbors, flipped inside out, splayed on the floor with fingerprintless matter to construct a new and improved you. Like ink seeping through vents to shower your skin and transforming into worms, using you as dirt. Dirt escaping. You're grappling and spreading from shoe bottom to shoe bottom. Seemingly spotless floors are brought to mercy at the feet of their carriers, but you rarely need to mop. You keep scooping soil into jars, sealing them with a kiss, but they're pulled to the ground. Efforts to scale mountains erode into your element, essential to ecosystems, and challenged into stacking itself onto your shoulders. All right, this next poem has a really deep and personal origin. I had my wisdom teeth taken out. I was in the car. I was quite loopy, and I wrote a poem. So this is wisdom teeth. Markers of loss, haunting, markers of glee, unlost, extracted before erupting from the drowning gums like boiling geysers, overshadowed by napkins and gauze. Approaching a limit, forecast is an asymptote, but regardless, I'm still carried further. Further from myself as teeth turn on each other, but the swim on a journey with no single steps. Not planned from caterpillar to chrysalis to butterfly, but ready to migrate. No fresh path of milkweed, but the painting expands from birth, this time dotted with a tooth. I honestly cannot believe that my go-to poem while being loopy from wisdom tooth surgery was I'm going to talk about math, but that is what happened. So I have one more poem for you today from Painted Winds, and it is titled Frame Inside a Frame. The course of time on this earth is what to the universe is what is and is not, and is my world different from yours, different from ours, in marbled galaxies of dying stars, falling through the petaled armor of hourglasses, specks in the sky, rocks once skipped across ribbons, tying together across divisions, rings passed down to the planets they dress, blazing bodies like our sun's former self, a paradigm for our clocks, each of ourselves, lives and deaths, coalesce into this frame, inside a frame of my hand in yours. Thank you.
Wow, that was fantastic. Thank you so much, Ariya. Everyone, you just heard Ariya Bandy read amazing poems. You can find some more at Ariya Bandy, AriyaBandy.com. Thank you so much. Amazing. It gives me great joy to introduce our next amazing reader, William Erickson. William Erickson is a living poet. His work appears in Six Finch, Heavy Feather, West Branch, Afternoon Visitor, and many other pubs. William is a 2023 Best New Poet nominee, hell yes, the author of 2 other chapbooks, Nothing Lied Still on the Sea from Tilted House Press, and Monotonies of the Wildlife, Finishing Line from 2022. And his debut collection is forthcoming with April Gloaming this year, 2024. He lives in Washington with his partner and their 2 dogs in an old house across the street from a large tree. Please join me in welcoming William Erickson.
Thank you, Sarah. It's such a pleasure and an honor to get to read with you twice now. Yeah, I'm very privileged. And thank you to all the readers and all the listeners. I was going to do a different thing, but now I'm going to do an even different thing, I think, and just kind of try and make it through this whole book. It's super short, but it feels appropriate. So Sandbox is kind of the result of the ingestion and digestion of probably close to 2 decades worth of media and journalism about the killing of an activist from Washington State named Rachel Corrie, who was in Rafah protesting the destruction of Palestinian homes in 2003 when she was run over by a IDF, an Israeli Defense Force bulldozer. There's just kind of a wealth of imagery and journalism around the death of Rachel Corrie, and I've always felt like I don't know, a pull, sort of a gravity towards her and the circumstances. You know, maybe it's that she was relatively close to home or what, but I've kind of been, fascinated by it since her death in 21 years ago. So that's kind of where Sandbox arose from. It's a book about media or the internet or Gaza or dying. I don't know. But I'm gonna set myself a little timer. If I get too close to the hook point, I'll just start skipping through poems. But there are some of these poems are so short. I should be able to make it. So this is Sandbox. Maybe it's in its entirety. Download. A coyote wings the dust. No humming internet. No reviews. You judge the stripping olive bark. Pound the last button on this metal box before we begin. Sunrise. An infant is a sort of intifada. The purple screen of a bruise blooms in pixels over a preschool in the West Bank. We all get ready sometimes for church, our eyes burnt open to blackboards, a bullhorn. Sign. Speaking the soft spot in decades. Speaking the fingers, a mouse, or a fist. I desire to ask, is any hand ever independent? Look to the east-facing light. Turn the switches of everything off. Unsand. Map of your skin on the desert. Counterfeit soil. Counterfeit. Cancer spreads nothing through an occupied space. Microscopes show the topography on your projector, mostly your roads. Version. Once, a sound turned to grains on a screen, but I wonder how the dead wear our scars. Every picture makes a face, a puzzle we solve, an undecipherable truth. Clock. A steel foot kicks a sound, a mouth. 3 reddened faces draw their mats across the voiceless rocks. Chapped lips rushing, no prayer. Your memory opens like the diver's surfacing lungs. Each click is a touch. Deity. On the internet, you can find a body's flatness less concerning. Index fingers fill a desert village blank. Bullhorn static plunges a blade in the black pond, a drop in the god hat. Blade. Such is a small body in a pile on the rubble, its limbs a sketch, its blood the boundaries, the bulldozer pushing and pushing the paint. Order. A desert bled for many years beneath the bandage. Soldiers twisted the tourniquet's windlass tighter till the desert asked who hasn't bled, but the soldiers only spoke through tongues of cotton gauze. Pinion. The officer's steel teeth snap into place in the olive flesh. The private slips a bullet in the blackened limbs, his trigger a little moon flooding the sand, breaking a light across the many moons clinging to the officer's oiled steel teeth. Bricks. On the internet, a body mortars walls. Bricks. On the internet, a body is a wall of them. Gulf. Black robes a body night. I should telephone the spine spread on my palm. Rain slivers the skein, binding my eye of sand. I should telephone any body buried under the crumbling toll bridge. Recliner. Trains leave every midnight. All fear is fear of missing. Take this furniture soaked in blood and reconstruct a healing moment. O flag, your skin of green and black, it beats and points into the caves. We sow such night times to our dead as to sleep through their constant return. Hearing. A gavel is the first way to crack an egg. In court, a case hardens into carapace. Its cachet a day draped in black, a cloak, a clasp. I gave you the golden chain with which to tether the bomb in the bigger bomb's pocket. Spring. A judge's killing shirt is wadded in the wash machine, filled with fist-size roses, blooming. Attention. Raise a flag, but no one fathoms whether rosaries or cables carry meaning. We take down notes like apostates, fill the mantle skull with ashes. This subjectivity double speaks a wrist. Cut the wire, drink the spring. Plum. The jury box cuts feedback into faceless screens, and one by one the jurors flesh their maps. Each state a tooth. Every mouth takes centuries to reach the point of speaking. There are answers for which no question asked. 10 of them in pews straightened their knees without standing. Compound. In the olive bench, the cable snakes above the judge's legs. Can you hear him? Can you hear the bulb buzz with black light? The wires, all of them, ringing words into sine waves. They lap, too. They lap and lap. Dawn. A judge tucks a quilt around his son and shuts the door. The house is a tomb for a light even his son could see. A sun in the wide, gray ocean, stinging with day on the tip of the judge's tongue. baptize. At night, I change my name to doctor, harbor in me the unfeelings of war. With 3 white fingers on the pulse, I pray a name into plastic lines. I pray a religion of copper and light. They are imaginary wounds one disinfects because there is no real disinfectant. Pixel. My God is an internet god. Oh, the sand between your toes is mostly screen. I recite a poem in clicks and with an index finger stain a desert a day. Voltage. On the internet, machines scream the flesh, bore the eyes out every face, dusted in flags. Voltage. On the internet, machines bleed their digits in currents that crowd the banks like a lottery. Plane. There is a wire from house to house like a jawbone set in sand. It draws a grid into a shut window. Without a mouth, a scream is a war in a mirror or a diamond mine. You can look into any suffering and see its offices. And this is the last poem. Burial. Every machine in time is a spade to make room for a body. The hand on the wheel, remembering no touch of the wound we love and love, its pixels little specks so quick to dust. Thank you. Thanks, Sarah.
Wow, thank you so much, Will. Everyone, you just heard William Erickson. Thank you for taking us on that journey. That was really amazing to hear you read the whole book. Oh, powerful. Fuck yeah. Awesome. I am super, super excited to introduce our final reader, which feels bananas. I'm so excited. This is Bri Stokes. Bri Stokes is a writer, editor, curator, producer, and poet born, raised, and living in Los Angeles on unceded Tongva land. Her writing, which explores themes of love, loss, identity, mysticism, depression, anxiety, and the sacred feminism, the sacred feminine, has been featured in BuzzFeed, Visual Verse, The Myriad, Skew Magazine, and the Winged Moon magazine. She is a former poetry editor at the now disbanded Hecate magazine and serves as the current managing editor at Skew. Bri is a stargazer, a dreamer, and an eternal seeker. For more information about her work and upcoming projects, please find Bri on her websites, bristokes.com. Please join me in welcoming the very awesome Bri Stokes.
Hello, everyone. Wow, that was such a beautiful, powerful experience. Thank you, Sarah, for bringing all of us together tonight. Thank you to all of our readers for your words and your vulnerability and just lending your magic to us. And thank you for everyone for being here with us tonight. Yes, as Sarah mentioned, my name is Bri. I am a resident of Los Angeles on unceded Tongva lands. I am a Black and Indigenous woman, and I am arriving here tonight with all of you, similarly to what other folks have mentioned, with feelings of a lot of concern and perhaps some fatigue surrounding what we must all bear witness to, the ongoing genocide and occupation in Gaza and the subsequent violence being lobbied against students and young people all across the country who are rising up in solidarity with the people of Palestine. So that's sort of the headspace where I've been in for the last few weeks. And it has shown up frequently in my writing as a result. So I'm going to read 3 poems for you today. And the first is actually one that I literally just finished this afternoon. And it doesn't have a title yet, but it was written with a lot of passion. And it's about my personal feelings and experience of dealing with the sort of spiritual weight of living in a country that was born via imperialism and one that is complicit in aiding in those agendas of imperialism. But it also speaks to the hope I feel in seeing so many people rise up and stand up for human rights. So here we go. Down from the chapels and from the porticos, draped in star-spangled curtains, hung like sheared flesh, hung like gathered bile or loss of sight and teeth. Her wailing seized the riverbeds and valleys, and I felt the tilting moon in the hills of her palms, in the hiss of the crowing dirge we sang for flattened hearth, for the little girl in the pink sweater with the brown eyes, and the prisons and oceans, and the lions licking wounds. I said to her, America, where is the sovereign power that formed you from pyrite, like my father's father swore to me? I once prayed in the woods, inside a temple of branches, and I felt the wind rise and cease with the pulse of my breath, and I knew she was alive. And I fear now that she has laid waste to ligaments and roots. In her conjuring, I fear she's fallen prey to steeped persuasions, to glinting teeth, gilded and shuffling and chiming like silver coins in the hands of a magician. I said to her, America, America, is your howling in vain? Will you sow seeds of marble or parables of death? Will your promulgations be friendly beyond heaven's gates when the virtues and powers raise cobalt fulminations for silver-eyed ghost for the debts you owe? Will you make wine of bones or leave them to evoke dreaming? Will you stand in sinking soil or raise bells for the riven air, for the rose gold dawn, for the sigh of cicadas, for the braying of crows, for the sight that spells your birth? To be restless in her long, undulating arms is to quell the chaos of a red hawk. See the blue in its eye, the whites of its talons, the stars that beckon listlessness but have not yet shed their drumming. Thank you. Okay, so this is my chapbook from Bottlecap. It's called A Throatful of Forest Dirt. And yeah, I worked with Craig on the cover design and to publish it in late 2023 in November. So the poems that I kind of curated in my brain today, I hope all align with themes of and hopes for freedom and liberation. And for me personally, I have found that one of the quickest routes to personal freedom is through self-love, as corny as it may seem or sound. I think that when we move in a foundation of self-love for ourselves, we are able to shed all of the things that disrupt us in this life from becoming who we come to this earth to be. So that's in part what this book is about, and how that interacts with desire and the experiences of the artist and love and longing and the sort of dance between all of those things. So this is called Afterbirth. There are few things more disarming than the creaking of floorboards and the cracks that line the ceiling and map out roads to a red-fanged beast called silence. I am terrified of silence. I coax complexities out of shadows in the name of evading silence. I weave Shakespearean projections with the chiefness of an illusionist to give form to silence, to find weight in it and steady it like a ship. I encounter Americana in silence, and I contemplate the sharpness of its edges, the foulness of its breath, the audacity of its angles, the molecules within me seeking freedom from consumption, from veracity and dystopia, from bones and banned books and the trilling of my ancestors. I meet silence with daggers and silver bullets in exchange for swelling hymns of my queerness, in exchange for hope and distractions and beauty and leisure and new origins of God. I am an alchemist in silence. I wrest it from ruby jowls and locate in its place the wild longing of the artist, the necessity of the artist, the evaporation of the artist. I am like hills drowned in moonlight under the ambitions of silence, seeking dawn, casting spells, reaching out to velvet folds and retrieving holy water, love for self, love for brown skin and brown eyes and dark shellacked curls and prisms of divinity that ring clear through the air like bells ringing like laughter filling silence or the trumpeting of birth. All right. So, last poem I have here. I wrote this book after like a very kind of weird, intense experience that I had with someone who I grew up with and hadn't spoken to in like 8 years at the time that we reconnected, which was at the start of the pandemic. And it was just this immediate feeling of oh, I have deep, intense feelings for this person and possibly always have. I initially met him when I was 14, and it took us like 8 years to get to the point where we understood, I think, what was happening between us. And so this poem is about how finding like aspects of yourself reflected in another person and how your feelings for them and like that process of mirroring can bring you further to self-love and ultimately further to freedom. So this is called Twin. The earth-colored slope of your gaze offers an invitation to grandiosity, to liberation, by way of baptisms ushered in sweat. You reek of glamour. You signal our sameness in silver wildfires and infinity measured in tree sap. I would pull out my veins for you. I would turn myself inside out and twist into bloated caricatures of creation myths in the name of our sameness. You call out to me like the Gemini stars do in the throes of communion and synchronicity. You have erected your own island. You dwell in the insatiable. We sing to each other like larks. We circle each other like suns. Thank you guys very much. Free Palestine.
Wow, that was fantastic. Thank you so much, Bri. Everyone, you just heard from Bri Stokes. Please visit their website, bristokes.com for more. I really am so overwhelmed with gratitude and joy for everyone's incredible words tonight. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks to our readers. Thanks to everyone who watched tonight. Thank you to my parents for being here and supporting me always. I am posting info in the chat of where to find the books and websites of all these amazing folks. If you're able, please support them by purchasing their work. And as promised at the beginning, if you have a couple of minutes for Q&A, if anyone has any questions they are interested in asking me or any of the writers, we're very open to that. If not, that's totally fine too. I just want to again take this moment and say thank you. This was amazing, and I'm gonna live off this inspiration for like a month, y'all. It's really beautiful. Yeah, fantastic. I did not see anybody write in any questions. So if there are no other questions, I just want to echo my friend Tom Snarsky, my poet, who likes to say thank you for donating the last 2 hours of your life to poetry, to the words and emotions of all these really brilliant people. I'm really thankful for this opportunity, and I thank you all for sharing your time and energy with me. It was wonderful, and I appreciate it. And I'm going to end the recording now. Thank you, y'all.